Hey, what's up everybody? I appreciate y'all checking out another video. Um, Gonna kind of rabbit hole a little bit on this one. Um, there's only so far you can go into it, but I think it's important stuff, it's relative stuff, and I don't know, maybe something that a lot of kayak guys have not thought of, and that is our actual format that we use to score the events, right? Um, so most of the people, when you got into tournament fishing, you got into the boat side, you were watching Bassmaster on ESPN, you're watching the FLW, all goes by weight, right? And before I even tournament fished, I had in my head what a good weight would be, what a bass limit should be. Um, Further down the road, I kind of found that kayak was my thing. Goes by a totally different format. Goes by length. And I thought, well, what's really the difference? It's just, you're catching the 5 biggest when you're trying to target bigger fish. Weight and length doesn't matter. Very much not the case, right? I don't feel like you should approach length events the same way you approach weight events, and I'm going to tell you why. So to give kind of an extreme example, if you go out to fish a tournament this weekend, you catch, it's a kayak event, you catch two 24-inch bass that weigh, say they weigh 9 pounds apiece, right? Giant, big one, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, it's a big one, right? So you'd have 18 pounds on 2 fish. Your length total, 24 and 24, would be 48 inches. You would have 48 inches, but you would have 18 pounds, okay, on 2 fish. So another guy goes out, same tournament, same day. He catches 5 bass that are 12 inches. His weight is gonna be about 4 pounds, maybe 5 pounds and a couple ounces. So with 2, you have 18. With 5, he has 4. However, if it's a kayak event and it's going by length, he'll have 12 times 5, 54 inches. I hope I did that math right in my head. Not my strong suit. Either way, he blows you out of the water. 5 12-inch fish. You had 2 9-pounders. You had 18 pounds. He had 4 pounds. He wins in kayak terms by a lot. 6 inches. Blew you out. All right, I'm not saying this. All right, so what this video is not about which one is better, which one's right, which one's wrong. It's just, we play by the rules that are there, and that's how it's done. So what I want to talk about is how to target different groups of fish based on length and target different groups of fish based on weight. And where I fish, a lot of the fisheries, there's a ton of shallow cover, but there's also offshore fish, right? The shallow cover, more resonant bass that tend to be heavy and they tend to be big. You can catch 19s, 20s, 21s, 22s in a couple feet of water. But over the course of a tournament day, if you're doing that and you get 3 kicker bites, 2 kicker bites, you have a good day, but then you fill your limit out. That's the other thing with being shallow and just fishing resonant fish on isolated shallow cover, is you're a lot more likely to get stuck with a 13, 14, or 15 incher in the limit. You may have 3 big ones, but you got a couple that are in that, just keeper range, 14s, 15s, pound and a half, 2 pound bass, right? If you're targeting offshore groups of fish on flats, grass beds, drops, just offshore fish, it's a lot more likely to have that higher average and have a better finish. That example I gave at first is kind of an extreme thing. Not very often you're going to go out and catch 2 24s, but that's to kind of put it in perspective. It's almost like, and I've noticed this in the fisheries, at least around me that I have a lot of experience on, those are 2 different populations, man. I'll give you an example. There's a small oxbow lake that has a really popular grass flat on the north end of it, 3 to 6 feet deep, open water, hydrilla beds, some stumps. If you find a group of fish there, you are way more likely. They're going to be longer, they're going to be thin, they're not going to weigh as much, but they'll all be 17, 18s, maybe 19s. You know, if you can find that for a kayak event, the vast majority of the time, that is gonna be the group of fish that you want to target, as opposed to running that shallow cover and picking one off here, one off there, one off here. And you'll get lured into that, man, because you'll get a big bite or two. Say you got a big bite or two in practice. That's happened to me. I say, dude, I caught a 21 and a half on a buzzbait on a tree that was set up a little bit further out. Maybe if I just run those cypress trees that are in a little bit deeper water, I could put together a really big bag. And I've definitely been beaten by less weight, but those longer fish, they have a different lifestyle. You know, they're built differently. That's one thing about bass. Depending on where they come from, they're going to be built a little different. They're going to look a little different. And it's all about their habitat. It's about their forage, and it's about how they spend their time and kind of how they adapt to that environment. For whatever reason, those isolated target fish in my area tend to be thicker. They're heavier, sometimes longer, you know, but the odds of running into 5 of those in a day, not nearly as good as sitting down on that offshore spot and 17-incher, 17-incher, 18-incher. And let me tell you, 18s in most of the kayak tournaments you'll ever fish, 18, if you can get 5 18s and some 18s to change, you're going to do fine. You're going to win plenty of events. You're going to top 3, you're going to top 5 if you can do that consistently. Having a 17 in there isn't detrimental, but when you get stuck on a 13 or a 14 or a 15-incher, that can really turn what was a phenomenal weight day into a not phenomenal length day, if that makes sense. So I guess the point of this video is just, you know, learn your fisheries, be open-minded to the different groups of fish that there may be, think about your options. And you know, sometimes of the year and certain water conditions, those deep fish, those open water fish may not pan out. You're better off picking off, you know, shallow fish here, shallow fish there. But when it sets up right to get on that offshore thing, that more nomadic group of bass, as I really think what it is, they're just not locked into one thing. They'll kind of roam a lot. And look, this can happen on Toledo Bend. It can happen on some of the bigger fisheries. There will be different groups of fish that have different habits, do different things. One thing I don't recommend, and I've tried to split days like this in the past, is all right, in the morning time I'll try to get a big bite here or there, and then I'll move to this, you know, to try to find that offshore group of those schooling fish, and fill out the limit that way. A lot of times picking up and moving during the day, for me, doesn't pan out. It's very time consuming. May end up with 5, but the biggest bags that I've caught in kayak tournaments and the times I've been able to do it day after day after day, man, finding those offshore groups. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you like the content. I'm kind of enjoying doing these. We're gonna get back to the on the water stuff soon. Like I said, I've been putting some pre-practice in for the Bassmaster Kayak Series coming up on Caddo and Bistineau later this fall. I'm extremely stoked about that. Probably have some really cool practice footage and tournament footage for y'all. So I hope you check it out. Thanks again. Y'all have a good day.